15 of the most elite financial consultants in Manhattan had spent 6 brutal weeks trying to find the source, bleeding millions from Rain Capital. 15 brilliant minds with Harvard MBAs, armed with the most sophisticated forensic accounting software money could buy, and not a single one could trace where $8 million had vanished to. The glass-walled conference room on the 42nd floor of Rain Capital had become a graveyard of whiteboards filled with dead-end theories, empty energy drink cans, and wounded pride. Then, a 34-year-old cleaning lady walked in at 11 p.m. to mop the floor. Marina Greenwood was nobody, a single mother drowning in medical debt, working 3 jobs just to keep her teenage son alive, living in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment where the heat didn't work half the winter. She had dropped out of college when life crushed her dreams under the weight of an unplanned pregnancy and zero support. She was invisible, the kind of person executives looked right through without seeing, just another woman in a faded blue uniform pushing a cart. But when her eyes landed on the spreadsheet still glowing on that massive monitor, something clicked. Years of balancing impossible budgets, of making $5 stretch to feed 2 people, of calculating medication costs down to the penny, it all crystallized in that moment. In exactly 60 seconds, while wiping down the glass conference table with one hand, she pulled a crumpled sticky note from her pocket and scribbled 2 sentences that exposed the entire fraud scheme. She had no idea that standing in the doorway behind her, watching her every move with ice-blue eyes that missed nothing, was James Rain himself, the Iron Wolf of Wall Street, the most feared CEO in New York, a man who had destroyed billion-dollar competitors and built an empire with his bare hands in a world that rewarded ruthlessness above all else. Marina pressed the sticky note onto the CEO's leather chair and quietly left the room. She had just changed both their lives forever. Chapter 1: The Summons and the Offer. Marina's hands trembled as she rode the elevator to the 47th floor, watching the numbers climb with a sense of doom. 6 in the morning and the building was nearly empty, just her and whatever fate James Rain had planned. She'd barely slept, replaying the moment she'd left that note on the desk, that stupid, impulsive note about numbers that didn't match. The office doors opened with a soft hiss. James stood by the window, backlit by the rising sun, his silhouette sharp as a blade. "Sit down, Marina." Marina's knees nearly buckled as she lowered herself into the leather chair. This was it. She'd be fired, blacklisted, maybe worse. She'd heard stories about people who saw too much in this building. James turned and Marina braced for impact. "Your note exposed an $8 million fraud scheme." The words hung in the air like smoke. Marina's mind went blank. 3 executives, 2 years of systematic theft. James' eyes were unreadable. 20 analysts reviewed those reports. CPAs, MBAs, people with decades of experience. You found it in one night with a mop bucket at your feet. Marina's throat closed. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. I'm offering you a position, Special Operations Analyst, $150,000 a year." The number hit like a physical blow. Marina's vision swam. That was more she'd made in the last 5 years combined. That was Marcus's medication, Marcus's treatments, Marcus's chance. "I don't have a degree," Marina whispered. "I barely finished high school. You have something better. You see patterns where others see noise." James leaned forward. "But I won't lie to you. If you fail, it won't be quiet. People will talk. They'll say I made a diversity hire, a publicity stunt. You'll be under a microscope every single day." Marina thought of Marcus's face that morning, pale and drawn, trying to smile through another wave of pain, thought of the medical bills stacked on their kitchen counter, the collection calls, the insurance denials. "I need to think about it," she heard herself say. James nodded once. "You have 24 hours. The apartment was dim when Marina returned, the morning sun barely penetrating their single, grimy window. Marcus was awake, curled on the couch, his breathing shallow. "Mom?" His voice was small, scared. Marina knelt beside her son, brushing back his hair. The prescription bottles on the side table were almost empty. 3 days of medication left, maybe 4 if she rationed. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and typed the message to James Rain. "I accept." The suit didn't fit right. Marina could feel it in the way the shoulders pulled when she moved, the way the hem hit awkwardly at her calves. Thrift store special, $12, smelling faintly of mothballs despite 3 washes. But it was professional. It had to be professional. The receptionist barely glanced up as Marina approached the gleaming marble desk. "Service entrance is around back, you know that." Marina's face burned. I'm here for the executive meeting. Marina Torres, Special Operations Analyst." The receptionist's head snapped up, eyes widening. She fumbled with her tablet, cheeks flushing. Oh God, I'm so sorry, Miss Torres. 47th floor, conference room A." The elevator ride felt like ascending to an execution. 12 faces turned toward her when she entered the conference room. 12 sets of eyes that cataloged everything: her cheap suit, her worn shoes, her hands that still bore the faint chemical-burned scars from years of industrial cleaners. Richard Harlow sat at James's right hand, silver-haired and sharp-suited, with eyes like a shark's, cold, calculating, hungry. "So this is our Cinderella story," he said, voice dripping with acid sweetness. "How inspirational." Marina's fingers tightened on her folder. James's expression didn't change, but something dangerous flickered in his gaze. "Marina, present your findings." The room felt like it was closing in. Marina stood, legs unsteady, and pulled out the documents she'd spent all night preparing. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. The fraud operated through 3 subsidiary accounts, small transfers always under reporting thresholds, but the pattern, Richard leaned back, a smile playing at his lips. "Miss Torres, with all due respect, these are complex financial instruments. Without formal training in forensic accounting or—" "The pattern," Marina continued, louder now, "shows consistent withdrawals on the 15th of each month, always in amounts ending in 0.37 cents. It's a signature. Whoever designed this wanted to track their own transactions without—" "This is absurd," Richard cut in. "James, surely we're not basing an $8 million investigation on the hunches of someone who—" "Richard." James's voice could have frozen blood. "When Marina speaks, you listen. When she presents data, you analyze it. When she draws conclusions, you consider them. Are we clear?" The room went silent. Richard's jaw clenched, but he nodded. Marina presented for 20 minutes. By the end, 3 executives were taking notes. Richard stared at the table, rage radiating off him like heat. After the meeting, James walked Marina down the hall, past rows of offices and cubicles. Curious eyes tracked their movement. They stopped at a door, corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows, right next to James's own. "This is yours." Behind them, Marina heard whispers ripple through the floor like wildfire. Marina's new office had a view of the city she'd cleaned for 15 years, but never really seen. Now she watched the sun rise and set from behind her desk, a coffee maker her only companion, spreadsheets glowing on dual monitors until her eyes burned. 18 hours a day, sometimes 20. She couldn't stop, couldn't slow down. Every moment of rest felt like an invitation for them to realize their mistake, to see her for what she really was, a fraud in a borrowed suit playing at a job she had no right to hold. But the numbers didn't lie, and the numbers kept talking. Richard's fraud wasn't elegant, it was audacious. 3 years of systematic theft, each transaction carefully layered through subsidiaries and shell corporations. Money flowed to the Caymans, then to Luxembourg, then to accounts that existed only as digital ghosts. 8 million was just what she'd found in one division. The real number was climbing. 12 million, 15, 20. Marina's hands shook as she traced the latest thread. He'd been doing this since before she'd even started cleaning this building. While she'd emptied his trash cans, he'd been emptying the company's accounts. The envelope appeared on her desk on a Tuesday morning. No name, no return address, just a single sheet of paper in elegant handwriting. Be careful. People who threaten him disappear. Richard Harlow doesn't lose. A friend. Marina's blood went cold. She looked up, scanning the glass walls of her office. Across the floor, through the maze of cubicles, she saw Claire, Richard's assistant for 6 years, quickly look away. That night, Marina didn't go home. She couldn't. The evidence was too important, too damaging. She locked her office door and kept working, pulling files, cross-referencing transactions, building a web of proof that even Richard couldn't talk his way out of. 3 former analysts who'd questioned discrepancies, all suddenly resigned within the same quarter. One moved to Seattle, one to Boston, one stopped showing up on any social media at all. A whistleblower from 2 years ago who'd filed a complaint with HR. The complaint disappeared from the system, so did the whistleblower. Transferred to a failing subsidiary in Cleveland, then laid off 6 months later. Richard didn't just steal, he erased. At 2 a.m., Marina compiled everything into a single encrypted file. $23 million, 7 shell companies, 12 international accounts, 3 years of evidence. She held the flash drive in her palm, feeling its weight. This could destroy Richard. This could save the company. This could get her killed. James was the only person she could trust, but James was also Richard's boss, his colleague for a decade. What if Marina was wrong about him? What if James was part of it? Marina sat in the dark, the city lights blinking below, and wondered if anyone would notice if she disappeared too. Chapter 4. The Midnight Breakthrough. The knock startled Marina awake. Her cheek had been pressed against a spreadsheet, leaving numbers imprinted on her skin. The office was dark except for her monitors, casting everything in blue-white ghost light. James stood in the doorway, still in his suit despite the hour, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. "It's 2 in the morning, Marina." "I know, Marina gestured helplessly at the screens, the papers, the evidence of Richard's crimes spreading across her desk like a cancer. "I can't stop. If I stop, I might miss something. If I miss something..." "You'll be like the rest of us, human." James crossed the office and set down one of the cups. The scent of real coffee, not the burnt sludge from Marina's machine, filled the air. "Move over." Marina slid her chair aside. James pulled up another and sat, studying the screens with the same intensity she'd seen in that first meeting. They worked in silence for 20 minutes, James asking occasional questions, Marina answering. The city below was dead quiet, just them and the hum of electronics and the ghost of Richard's crimes. "I was 28 when I started this company," James said suddenly. "I had a business degree from Wharton, 3 years at Goldman Sachs, and a business plan that would have impressed anyone." Marina's jaw tightened at the memory. 47 investors told me no, not because the plan was bad, because I was too young, too aggressive, too ambitious. James' jaw tightened at the memory. They said I didn't have enough experience, that I needed to pay my dues for another decade. I built Rain Capital out of spite and a $100,000 loan from my grandfather, worked 100-hour weeks, slept in my office for 2 years, proved every single one of them wrong. He turned to Marina, and I still remember what it felt like to have everyone in the room assume I didn't belong. Marina's throat closed. I didn't finish college, got pregnant at 18, Marcus's father left before he was born. The words tumbled out, confessions she'd never spoken aloud in this building. I have a GED and 15 years of cleaning experience. I don't belong here, James. We both know it. You're right, you don't belong. James' eyes caught the monitor light. You belong somewhere better, but you're here and you're brilliant, and I'll be damned if I let them make you doubt that. Marina felt something crack open in her chest. Fear, maybe, or hope. I see myself in you, James continued quietly, the version of me that had to claw for every inch. But you have something I didn't, raw instinct. You see things others miss because you've been invisible your whole life. You've been watching. Marina picked up her coffee, hands steadier now. What if I fail? Then we fail together, James raised his cup. But we won't. Chapter 6. The trap is set. The call came during the board meeting. Marina's phone lit up with the school's number and her blood turned to ice. She answered despite 12 pairs of eyes watching. Miss Torres, Marcus collapsed during gym class. The ambulance is taking him to County General. Marina didn't hear the rest. She was already running. County General's ER smelled like disinfectant and desperation, a smell Marina knew too well. Marcus lay on a gurney in a curtained bay, small and pale, an IV in his thin arm. His eyes found Marina's, filled with tears. "Mom, I'm sorry. I thought I felt okay." "Shh, baby, it's not your fault." Marina smoothed Marcus's hair, her own hands trembling. The nurse had already mentioned the specialist Marcus needed, the tests, the treatment protocol, words that translated to numbers Marina didn't have. 40,000 for the specialist alone, maybe more. Her new salary wouldn't even cover the deposit. The insurance had limits, deductibles, copays that multiplied like a virus. Marina felt the walls closing in, the old familiar panic of being poor and powerless, and watching your child suffer because you couldn't. Marina. James stood at the curtain's edge, still in his suit and possibly composed. Marina's shame was instant and burning. Her boss, at the hospital, seeing her like this, broken and terrified and poor. "I made some calls. Marcus is being transferred to Mercy Heights Medical Center. Dr. Sarah Chen is the best autoimmune specialist on the East Coast. She'll see Marcus tomorrow morning." Marina couldn't breathe. Mercy Heights was where senators went, where CEOs got their private rooms and experimental treatments. "James, I can't. The cost." "It's handled." "No," Marina's voice cracked. "I can't let you pay for—" "You're not letting me do anything. Marcus is brilliant, just like his mother. He deserves the best care available." James stepped closer, his voice dropping. "Accepting help isn't weakness, Marina. It's wisdom. You've spent your whole life fighting alone. You don't have to anymore." Marina's eyes burned. Marcus's small hand squeezed hers. "Thank you," Marina whispered. James nodded and turned to go, but paused at the curtain. "Take tomorrow off. Be with your son." From the hospital corridor, partially hidden behind a pillar, Richard Harlow watched the exchange. His phone was in his hand, recording. Marina and James. James's hand briefly touching Marina's shoulder, the intimacy of it, the weakness of it. He smiled, cold and calculating. Everyone had a weakness. He'd just found James Raines. Richard slipped his phone into his pocket and walked away, already planning. Chapter 7. The Threat. The parking garage was nearly empty at 8 p.m., just Marina's 10-year-old Honda and a handful of luxury cars that cost more than her entire life. The fluorescent lights hummed and flickered, casting everything in sickly yellow. Marina's footsteps echoed as she walked toward her car, her mind still on Marcus, stable now, responding to treatment, Dr. Chen cautiously optimistic. She was fishing for her keys when she heard the other footsteps. Richard emerged from behind a concrete pillar, and the polished veneer was gone. No shark smile, no false civility, just cold, naked hatred. "Working late, Miss Torres?" Marina's heart slammed against her ribs. Her hand moved instinctively to her phone in her pocket, finding the voice recorder app, pressing record blind. "Mr. Harlow?" She kept her voice steady. "I was just leaving." "I know what you're doing." He moved closer, each step deliberate. All those late nights, all those files you think nobody notices you accessing, you're building a case against me. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't insult me. His voice dropped to something razor sharp. I've been playing this game since before you learned to mop floors. You think you're clever? You think James Rain gives a damn about you beyond the optics of his little charity project? Marina's fingers tightened on her phone. I think you're a thief, and I think you're scared. Richard's laugh was like broken glass. Scared of you? He stepped into her space, close enough that she could smell his expensive cologne. Let me tell you what I am. I'm a man with connections, resources, friends in very useful places. Is that a threat? It's a fact. His eyes were dead. Marcus is at Mercy Heights, isn't he? Room 447. Dr. Chen is very good, I hear. But hospitals are dangerous places. Medication mix-ups happen, equipment failures, tragic accidents that nobody could have prevented. The world tilted. Marina's breath stopped. You touch my son? I won't have to touch anyone. That's the beauty of it. Richard smiled, and it was the most terrible thing Marina had ever seen. Stop digging. Destroy whatever you've found. Resigned quietly, or your son's recovery becomes complicated. Marina's hands shook, but she met his eyes. No. Excuse me? You heard me. No. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it was steel. Do whatever you want to me, but Marcus gets better, and you go to prison. Richard stared at her for a long moment, then laughed again. Brave. Stupid, but brave. We'll see how long that lasts. He walked away, his footsteps echoing. Marina waited until she heard his car start and drive away, before her legs gave out. She slid down against her Honda, shaking violently, and pressed stop on the recording. 47 minutes later, she sat across from James in his home office, playing the recording. James's face went white, then red, then something beyond rage. I'll destroy him, James said quietly. But Marina saw it, the thing she'd never seen before. Fear, real fear in James Rain's eyes. They weren't untouchable after all. Chapter 8. The Boardroom Showdown. The emergency board meeting was called for 9 a.m. on a Friday. Marina arrived to find the conference room packed. Not just the usual 12 executives, but the full board of directors. 20 faces. Richard sat at the head of the table opposite James, composed and confident. Marina's stomach dropped. This was an ambush. Thank you all for coming on short notice, Richard began, his voice grave with manufactured concern. I've called this meeting because we have a serious problem, a problem of ethics, integrity, and corporate security. He clicked a remote. The screen behind him lit up with documents, Marina's name highlighted in red across transaction reports, access logs, confidential files. Marina Torres has been accessing secured financial records without authorization, moving funds between accounts, making unauthorized contact with offshore entities. Richard's voice was surgical, precise. In short, she's been committing securities fraud under the guise of investigation. Marina's blood turned to ice. The documents looked real. Her credentials, her access timestamps, transactions she'd never made, but that bore her digital signature. This is fabricated, Marina said, but her voice sounded weak even to her own ears. Is it? Richard turned to her, eyebrows raised. These are server logs, Miss Torres. Your fingerprints are all over them. You've been siphoning funds and blaming me to cover your tracks. A classic misdirection. Board members whispered to each other. Marina saw doubt in their eyes, suspicion. She was the cleaning lady playing dress-up. Of course she was the criminal. Richard, this is absurd, James cut in, his voice sharp. Marina has been investigating legitimate fraud. Has she? Or have you been so taken in by a feel-good narrative that you've ignored obvious red flags? Richard looked at the board. I propose we terminate Ms. Torres immediately and refer this matter to law enforcement. All in favor? No. Marina stood, her legs somehow steady. She pulled out a flash drive and held it up. Before you vote, you should see what I actually found. She plugged it into the laptop. The screen changed. 3 years of transactions. Shell companies in the Caymans. Luxembourg accounts. $23 million traced through Richard's personal signature patterns. The 0.37 cent markers, the 15th of each month, all of it laid out in forensic detail. These are Richard's thefts. Every transaction, every account, every lie. Marina clicked through slides, her voice gaining strength. And this, she played the audio from the parking garage. Richard's voice filled the room. Marcus at Mercy Heights, isn't he? Room 447. Medication mix-ups happen. Equipment failures. Tragic accidents. The board went silent. Someone gasped. Richard's face drained of color. You recorded a private conversation? He started. You threatened my son's life, Marina said. James stood. I've been working with federal prosecutors for the past week. Marina's evidence has been reviewed and verified. The boardroom doors opened. 3 FBI agents entered, badges out. Richard Harlow, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and witness intimidation. Richard stood frozen as they cuffed him. His eyes found Marina's, pure hatred burning there. This isn't over, he hissed as they led him away. But it was.